Can I taste your juice?
This is almost more of a philosophy
Yes.
than it is a vape shop.
Yes, we're not intending in going into retail business. It's not our clients are retail business. Okay, so we open that shop in order to show them and to understand better their needs and be able to guide them how to make business,
how to be successful.
Yes,
Yeah.
how to be successful.
The job of the vape shop is to provide that support,
Yes.
and guide the smoker step by step to be successful in quitting smoking. And unfortunately, the industry for the last 2-3 years has lost its way. I heard a very interesting statistic inside from Javier earlier that said they estimate about 5.5 million people have tried vaping in France. But you only have about 1.5 million vapors.
Yes.
Well, I wish we had that statistic in America as well too.
Yes.
But that means we had 4 million chances and it didn't work for whatever reason.
Yes.
But we really need to look to ourselves and say why,
Yes.
right? You don't have to sell lower nicotine liquids so you can sell more.
Yeah.
You can actually sell higher nicotine to more people.
Yes.
And you're going to be very successful as well too.
And actually, if we had this model in place, we would know why we lost that 4,000.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
4,000 smokers. Right?
Absolutely.
Another point that we have noticed at the beginning, vape shops were totally dedicated for the harm reduction, cessation. It's a cessation tool for you help people quitting smoking.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, all the shop owners were fully dedicated to that mission. It wasn't like opening business to make business. It was helping people
Genuinely to
stop.
help
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, and with times goes on, you know, last year we see more businessmen.
Yeah.
We're looking more at their margin,
Right.
and we have noticed that, in fact, the time that you spend with a smoker was less and less important for the shopkeeper, because his indicator is totally different. Is the time he dedicates for a sale. In fact, the real key of a good business is the time that you dedicate to the anxiety of the smoker.
Yeah.
He's in your shop, he's anxious. He tried many methods to quit smoking. Nothing worked. So you are here to provide and take care of the anxiety of the smoker.
Right.
And the time that they consider as a loss of time, you know, because there's no sales, it's in fact an investment.
It's an investment into a new customer.
A new customer.
Yeah.
And, it's
And
not,
potentially save life.
yeah,
as well.
and save life,
Yeah.
of course. It's not only one customer, because one smoker, when he succeeds to quit cigarettes, classic cigarettes, he talks about it, he explains it, and he brings new people into the shop. That was the success of the of all the sector.
The entire industry
Yeah, the
was
entire
built
industry
on that.
built on that.
It would be interesting. I know the environment in the United States is not welcoming to do this right now, but the existing vape shops, I would be interested to see if somebody did take this approach in a town that has 10 vape shops. And we change one of those vape shops to take this approach and see how many people are going to try vaping again and how successful it's going to be.
So we're at the flagship store of Alfaliquid.
Right.
And we are going to simulate the process of how they transition smokers
Right.
to vapors.
So I think you're going to see a much different process here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I don't vape, right? I'm going to pretend like I'm a smoker and I'm coming in off the street and I just want to get involved with vaping. Now, of course, you're going to hear some French here and it's going to be translated. But what I want you to see is the steps and the process and the hand-holding and some of the things that you will probably not see in an American vape shop, right? And some of the data gathering that we think is like really, really important, for not only the just to have for the shop, right? But also for the success of the transitioning smoker to vaping. Because if things don't work, we need to identify what that is and find something that does work.
I think one key takeaway from what you're going to see here today, this store has been only open for 1 month in a very, very small town. Probably about 15 miles is the closest big city. And they've already converted 23 smokers last month. And all of those have been word of mouth, meaning somebody came here, went through this experience, went through this process, then they brought a friend or a cousin or a family member. And always in America, we hear, you know, how are we going to get new business? How are we going to attract smokers? Well, hopefully you'll be able to take some key takeaways from this presentation that you can use in your shops to draw new customers and go back to the basics and what we did back in 2011 and 2012 to convert smokers. So that's the goal here, to utilize the information that Alfaliquid is kindly sharing with the world, and hopefully we can improve the industry worldwide.
Right. And I'm not a vapor, so I should probably put this down.
Yeah, you should probably put that down.
Put this down.
Yeah.
And we have a customer too. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Come on in. Should I come in the door?
Yeah, I think for the full effect, you should.
I should come in through the door. Okay.
Go outside, all the way outside.
You want to go all the way outside?
Go down the street.
Yeah. Go buy a pack of cigarettes.
Hey folks, PBusardo, would you like my autograph? No, let's start that all over again. Hello.
I said majestic, not gay. Wait, so silly.
Bonjour. Hi,
there.
how are you?
Good. How are you today?
Good, I'm fantastic. So I'm a smoker and I want to quit, and I heard a lot of good things about vaping, and I was hoping that you could help me out here.
Well, congratulations, first of all, for the decision you just took. It's very brave. You're at the right place. Actually, we will be able to help you go through that whole first step experience, and also to provide a lot of information about vaping, about the products, and how the whole experience will be for you.
Okay, good.
So,
good. So before we get going here, you know, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about vaping, but I've also read some not so good things. So I've heard in the United States that people are dying from vaping. Can you tell me more about that?
correct. Those products had nothing to do with what you can find in a vape store.
So not nicotine vaping?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Those products were illicit contaminated THC cartridges.
Oh, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in nicotine.
Okay, then we are all good.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so what's the first step?
So maybe we can ask also my colleague Leah. She's responsible
Leah.
for the store. She will be talking in French, but we will see how I would say her daily work looks like. So
Okay.
can you explain us usually what is the first question that you ask to a smoker?
Alors, la première question qu'on pose à un fumeur qui veut arrêter de fumer, c'est pour quelle raison il veut arrêter de fumer.
So what is the first motivation? What is the purpose for you to stop smoking?
I want to live longer.
Okay, so it's health reasons.
Health reasons, yeah.
Je cherche tout d'abord.
Okay, so we will use a document that will first of all create a link between the two of us,
Okay.
so that we can also follow up, I mean, through the weeks. So it's also going to help us to know a little bit more about your profile.
Okay.
So we will go through a few questions, and based on the answers, you will get points that will add up, and depending on the results, is going to give us more or less the profile of the person.
Okay.
To understand a little bit better and to advise the right hardware and the right e-liquid.
Interesting. Okay.
Alors, dans 6 mois, avec l'aide de la cigarette électronique, vous pensez que vous fumerez toujours autant? Vous aurez diminué de 50%, de 70% ou complètement arrêté?
So the question is, within 6 months, using e-cigarette, do you think, based on your motivation, that you will be still smoking as much as today, that you will have decreased your consumption half, 70%, or you will have totally quit smoking?
Well, I'm pretty motivated and pretty dedicated, so I don't want to smoke at all anymore.
Perfect.
Okay.
So this is adding 3 points.
Okay.
Ensuite, au niveau de votre forme physique.
So physically, how do you feel right now?
Well, I mean, I do get winded a lot with activity, and when I wake up in the morning and like my first breath of the day, there's a lot of pain there if I smoke a lot at night.
So basically, you feel like out of breath a little bit.
Yeah.
After an effort.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be 2 more points added.
Est-ce que vous avez conscience de dégager une odeur de tabac?
Do you feel that you have a smell of smoke on yourself for other people?
I don't smell it myself, but maybe other people smell it.
Maybe
yeah.
they have already told this to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, I think I've been smoking so long that I can't smell it anymore, but
Right.
I think people that don't smoke probably smell it on me, yeah.
So that's going to be another point.
Do I win a prize if I get enough points?
We can discuss this.
Okay.
Du coup, est-ce que ça vous gêne d'imposer cette odeur de tabac à votre entourage?
Do you feel uncomfortable by, having this smell and imposing this to your family and friends?
Yes,
and
I do.
Okay.
Est-ce que vous avez besoin de faire des économies?
Do you need to save money?
Well, everybody could save money, sure. I would
There
love
you
to
go.
be able to save money.
Do your friends and family support you in this new experience?
Yes, very much. My mother and my father both used to smoke, and they don't want me smoking anymore.
Perfect.
Et est-ce que votre conjointe est enceinte?
Is your wife pregnant?
Not that I know of. I mean, things could change when I get back to the States. You know, I don't know. But no, I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Okay, so we assume that it's no.
Okay, yeah.
Which wife, by the way? Which wife we're not-
Well, that wife can't get pregnant, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're just going to take a minute to add the points up.
Okay.
So you're on the highest side of motivation, so
Okay.
you have the highest success.
Potential.
The highest potential
Okay.
to be successful.
Okay.
Ensuite, on va passer au test de dépendance.
So now we will measure the dependency to nicotine that
Okay.
you currently have.
Okay.
Votre première cigarette après votre
So the first cigarette that you smoke right after you wake up,
Mhm.
does it occur after 5 minutes, 6 to 30 minutes, between 30 and 60 minutes, or after an hour?
10 minutes.
Okay, in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Trouvez-vous qu'il est difficile de vous abstenir dans les endroits où cela est interdit?
Is it difficult for you where, in places where it's forbidden to smoke, to not to smoke?
Very difficult.
Okay.
Yes.
Renoncez-vous plus difficilement à la première?
Which cigarette of the day is the hardest to give up on?
Well, I don't give up on any of them. So,
So would that be the first one of the
which
day
would be
or
the
any
most
other?
challenging?
Mhm.
Probably the first one of the day would be,
Okay.
yeah. Or after a meal is very difficult too.
How many cigarettes do you smoke per day?
About
on
a pack
average?
a day.
A pack of 20?
Pack of 20 a day.
Okay. Do you smoke more during the morning or during the rest of the day?
Yeah. It's probably spread out evenly during the day.
Okay, so it's more or less the same, so no. So, do you smoke when you feel really sick and if you're even laying in bed?
Yes.
So this is a total of 7. So your level of dependency to nicotine is pretty high. And out of these first questions, we would recommend a nicotine strength from 16 to 19.6.
Okay.
So we will test your carbon monoxide.
Okay, carbon monoxide?
Right.
Okay.
So we have a little device that will give us the information right away.
Mhm.
Just maybe one question before we start. Have you smoked your last cigarette right before entering the store?
In the car, right before I came in the store, yeah.
Because then it decreases pretty fast and it goes up pretty fast as well. So
Okay.
it might influence the result.
Okay. Can you tell me about this machine and what it is that I'm going to do here?
So it's not especially...
I get a little bit nervous when she puts the glove on. I don't know what's going to happen. You're okay.
As long as you're not asked to turn around.
Yes,
you
I'll be
should
okay.
safe.
Please ask him to turn around, please.
No, this particular machine was not developed specifically for vape shops.
Okay.
You can find the exact same one in a doctor's
Okay.
office. They use the exact same technology.
Okay.
It was just for us more important to have it complete, like I said, the questionnaire, and to really give the right information. Many times, and we understand this, people minimize a little bit the amount of tobacco they consume
Okay.
on a daily basis.
Now, I just drank a bottle of Jack Daniels on the way in here. This isn't going to measure my blood alcohol, is it? I'm not going to get a DUI or
maybe
anything like that?
that would be the next door.
Okay, yeah.
We
Okay.
have a very nice place.
Okay, very good. Okay.
So she will turn it on.
Okay.
She will give a first signal where you have to take as much air as possible and stop. And then you will see numbers decreasing, and when it's down to 0, then you start blowing into the machine. There's no signal that will tell you, to stop blowing is as long as you have
As long as I
air.
can, as long as I have air.
Right, you just...
This could go for a long time. I got a lot of hot air. Yeah, okay. All right.
As soon as you see a number, you can stop.
Okay, see number.
So we have a scale
Okay.
that will help us understand the number.
Ha ha ha, look at that. 3, non-smoker. By the way, okay, so we want to capture this, right? So I just blew a 3 as a non-smoker, okay? So I've been vaping now for over 10 years, and I just blew a 3, and this device is telling me that I'm a non-smoker. Obviously, we're doing a mock-up right now, and it's important. So I just blew a 3, okay? And a 3 is in the non-smoker range,
Correct.
right? If people are embarrassed to tell you that they're smoking, or maybe they go through this process and they come back in, and they say, I haven't smoked any cigarettes, right? Are you able to tell with this device how much they're smoking and if they're cheating?
Exactly. And that's also why I asked you, when was the last cigarette you smoked?
Okay.
Because a lot of time they smoke right before they come in the store. So the rate is extremely high. So if another person that smoked the same amount of cigarette waited an hour or 2 hours, before coming here, the number will show a lower result. It's not that one number by itself that is important, is to measure it again after a couple days and after a couple weeks and so on, to see how it will decrease. And yes, you're right, if they smoke, it will show it right away. But
Okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's, at least it reveals that the person needs maybe more support, another device, or maybe to discuss a little bit more about why it's not working for her
Right.
or for him.
What if you stay in the same hotel room as Dimitri? Does that number start to go up?
That's
Probably.
why
Yeah, I
I
think
would
that's not
imagine
even
that
on
could be
the
why
scale,
I'm a 3
right?
and not a 2 or a 1. Yeah. Okay, so what's the next step?
So after all the testing, we will use our online platform to see what's the consumption in terms of budget. So it's gonna also make you realize that, of course, the investment sometimes at the beginning seems very high for a smoker, but throughout a year, you will see that usually you will save money at the same time.
Okay.
So
And she's also, like, as we do this, she's creating a data record of me.
correct.
Right? And she's going to log that number, right? And we're going
Right.
to track it.
Right now, we have a more standard system with an Excel file, but we're looking at to get a software where we can fill that in, or even have it on an iPad or something, so that the data collects
Real
by
quick.
itself.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so we're going to the next
Yeah.
next step? Okay.
It's going to be right
Got
there.
that?
So this application is called 𝗍𝗂𝗹𝗀. Eco stands for economy,
Okay.
and VAP for vaping.
Vape. Okay.
Alors, quel type de cigarettes fumez-vous? Des cigarettes toutes prêtes ou des roulées?
Do you smoke cigarettes that are already
Pre-rolled. Pre-rolled. Yeah.
Okay.
Des cigarettes?
Mhm.
Le prix du paquet de 20.
What's the average price for a pack of 20?
€8.
Okay.
€8.
So you can press
It's
or
nice and cheap.
your current budget per day, per week, per month, and,
And per year.
So it's a little less than €3,000 per year. So what's the average price of a lighter?
$3, €3. €3. Okay.
Combien utilisez-vous de briquets à l'année?
How many lighters are you losing?
Um,
Basically answering
Oh
the
God,
question.
I buy, I don't know, five lighters a year. Is that, it's a year? Is this
Yeah.
Okay, but 5 lighters a year.
Mhm.
So it added in lighters now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's neat. All right.
So now we're on the vaping side
Okay.
to determine the budget,
Okay.
to compare it. So to make sure that, I mean, we also increase a little bit the amount that we will put in here, even though we know it's probably going to be below it, but it's still to prove that vaping will help them save money.
Okay.
So we estimate that the first hardware would be around €60.
€60. Okay.
So we assume that maybe after 6 months, you will be willing to maybe change your hardware to get some new experience with new flavors and so on. So we even add you a new hardware in the budget.
Okay.
That's the coil budget.
Coil, but okay.
That's the unit price.
Like it's something that I dispose of and I have to buy again, so it's a consumable.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the same thing concerning
But for
e-liquid.
liquid, okay.
So 5.9 for a bottle of 10 ml.
Okay.
So on a weekly base, we determine that you will be using more or less 3 bottles.
3 bottles.
Since usually you can use one. I mean, 1 bottle will last for 3 days,
Okay.
but it's just to round it up.
So that's even with 2 devices a year?
Mhm.
So it's a substantial savings.
So this is just showing the budget for vaping. Now we will
Compare them side by side?
exactly.
Okay. So this is what I'm saving per year.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be healthier and I'm going to save money.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this data will be sent through email to you.
Okay.
So that way you also get the information on your side. Of course, we will save it on our side as well. So the next step will be to go and discover our central area of the store, where you will get the first feeling about the flavors. What is important is that you feel comfortable with the first flavor. And usually we recommend to stay on a tobacco or maybe a menthol flavor so that you don't change your habits too much during that first time.
Well, I'm not a menthol fan. I don't like menthol, so probably tobacco, yeah.
So we can move on this side to start with.
Okay.
We recreated somehow an environment that is very familiar with the perfume industry. This is basically the same way they work. So the first contact with the flavors that you will have will be first to smell them. And then from there, we can move on to the experience of inhaling them.
Okay.
So we have different flavors here on what they call the org. It's the same term that is actually used for perfume.
Okay.
And we will be able to use those little test strips.
Okay.
Tobacco flavors would be on this side.
Okay.
First of all, what is the brand of cigarettes that you use to smoke?
Marlboro Light.
Okay. So this is a blonde tobacco. Is that similar in in the US? With some like woody, foresty notes inside it. So
that smells nice. What I would like to do though is maybe compare this to like another.
Right.
Can we do that?
So this one will be a little drier.
Yeah. This Reminds me more of my cigarette than this does.
By showing this, it's a way for us to also highlight the know-how of our particular facility and how we develop and conceive the aromas.
Okay.
Because this is really, I mean, where we are performing the most. And aromas are extremely important in the vaping experience because, of course, it's supposed for the people seeking for tobacco flavors to somehow reproduce the experience they had with cigarettes. But we have also to consider that it has to be a pleasure. And this is why also we have such a wide range of flavors to provide, is to make sure that people can have the best experience and the most comfortable experience, and that they meet their taste.
Right. Now, I noticed me as a smoker coming in off the street, you directed me to the tobaccos right away, right? And do you feel that that's my highest chance of success, is starting with the tobacco? We do believe, because it's gonna create somehow a bridge from smoking to vaping, unless someone, and we do totally respect this, they definitely say, I don't want to have anything to do with tobacco flavor anymore. If I'm vaping, I want to vape an apple flavor. And it's the person's choice then. But we recommend usually not to switch too fast to a whole different behavior, and to have progressively still something that will not put you, I mean, not in stress, but again, to go progressively through that experience. Right. Okay, so I'm interested in California, right? California.
So we can move to the next step.
Okay.
This
Okay, so that's what I do. So I'm just getting a sense of what the aroma and what the flavor is like.
We're also showing people how to use it, because a lot of time they don't know how close they should go to the machine, or just like let the vapor go into their face.
Right. Now, if I was interested in trying some other flavors right now, can we try some different tobaccos?
On peut essayer le 𝗱𝗏𝗻. 𝗱𝗏𝗻 is one of the most popular tobacco flavor and is the closest to Marlboro.
Well, that's a much more strong. That's a much stronger than California. Yeah.
So all the testing that you're doing here does not contain nicotine at this point.
So there's no nicotine.
No, we're just first.
I was gonna say that because like I'm getting the aroma, but I'm not getting the sensation of smoking here.
We decided to split that step in two parts. First to select the flavor, and then to determine the nicotine strength.
Okay, so I think I like that one. So is that something that, so what's the next step in the process?
So now the next step will be to determine and to confirm the nicotine strength that we think that is the most adapted to you. We will still have you taste them to make sure that you feel comfortable with that nicotine strength.
Okay.
Not saying that you should go for the lowest, because again, you should not be afraid of nicotine. Nicotine will help you to have the most successful experience in the smoking cessation.
So you told me not to be afraid of nicotine, but does nicotine cause cancer?
No, nicotine is not dangerous. What is dangerous in the traditional cigarette is all the substances, and especially when it creates combustion, that you have with a traditional cigarette. So tar, for example, that's definitely something that you want to avoid.
And that's not in e-cigs?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so let's try some nicotine strength.
So now that we determined the flavor that fits you the best, we will go back to the nicotine strength that we talked earlier about.
Okay.
So based on the result that we had on the dependency test, it looks like it's more between a 16 milligram or a 19.6 milligram. So that means that you will get the amount, the sufficient amount of nicotine inside your body, not to make you want to smoke.
Okay.
So this is important to understand, because if you think that going too quickly towards a lower nicotine level is healthier, we said earlier that nicotine is not dangerous for you. So your body will create that need, and then you might even go back to smoking. So that's definitely not something we want to happen.
Right, and I know I really want to eliminate cigarettes from my life. So what should I what do you recommend that I?
Okay, so we will go for the two levels that we determined. So we have the 16 milligram and the 19.6 milligram.
Okay.
So we will make you test both.
So I noticed before that she used the glove before, and you're using a glove now. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, right. Because since all the mouthpiece will be in contact with your mouth, I don't want to contaminate them, and that's for sanitary reasons.
Okay.
Mostly.
Okay.
So I will test it myself first to make sure that they work properly.
Okay.
So let's go for the 16 first.
So this is the lower nicotine strength first, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You're gonna have to push this button.
Okay.
And as soon as you hear a little bit of a noise, you can bring it to your mouth and then just inhale a little bit of the vapor that comes out.
So kind of like smoking? It's similar to smoking a cigarette?
Well, I mean, it's similar, but you will see that the experience is different. And don't be afraid if you cough a little bit at the beginning. It's just that the sensation is different in your throat.
Okay.
But just give it a try and we will see from there.
I notice it's a little airy compared to a cigarette. Is that normal? Can we tighten the draw on it?
Yes, you can definitely make it a little tighter. You have here on the side what it's called an airflow.
Okay.
So you see those little holes in here will allow the air to go through or not. So you just have to close it this way. So you can even regulate the airflow, having 1 hole, 2, 3, 4,
so
up
however,
to 5.
okay. So I can control how tight the draw is.
So it was on the airier.
Okay.
So you can try it, for instance, with the less air.
Oh, that's more like my cigarette now. Okay. So I guess I need to try the higher strength, but I'm getting the same sensation in my throat like I would from my cigarette.
Right, this is what we're looking for. It's called a throat hit.
Okay.
So it's a contraction of your larynx, right? That is reproducing the exact same behavior that what you have with your cigarette.
Okay.
So let's maybe give a try to the higher one.
Okay.
Of course, I mean, we know probably based on the result that one is more adapted to you, but then you have to feel comfortable.
Okay.
Sometimes a higher nicotine can create an irritation that is too strong.
Okay.
So that way we can definitely determine which one works the best.
Okay. So this is the stronger one now.
Yeah. And just check the airflow.
Oh, I want to make the airflow the same. Okay. It's a lot stronger. Now, the coughing, is that will I have to cough all the time, or?
No, usually it happens during the first couple days.
So I do notice that's a little more harsh than this one. If I start with this one and I find myself not satisfied, can I try a stronger one, or do you recommend going from the stronger one to the?
Well, I will recommend both. Actually, if during this interview you feel more comfortable, because I don't want to force you to vape a product that is irritating your throat, you can go and start with the 16, but I will strongly recommend to also buy 19.6.
Okay.
Just to make sure that if you have the feeling that you're not getting enough nicotine and that you're vaping or even increasing your vape periods, then...
Or I feel like a cigarette?
Exactly.
Okay.
Then just switch to a higher nicotine strength.
Okay.
We call this the safety bottle, always to have with you, because also during weekends or during parties and when you drink alcohol, of course, people are used to smoke more. So then the nicotine level goes up, and then you need maybe to have a higher nicotine strength at that time.
I'm actually quite surprised at how much this feels like a cigarette.
Well, that's how it was designed for.
So I guess now it's time to pick a device.
Right?
All right, so I see a lot of different devices in front of me. Can I use the liquid that we selected with any of these?
Definitely. What makes the difference, I mean, beside the design, as you can tell, will be the battery life. This is something that is extremely important because this could lead you to go back to smoking in case during the day or during a party or anything, you will run out of battery. So we want to make sure that the battery lasts at least a full day.
I use that as a tester, but I don't like a box like that. I want something that's more of like a tube shape. I don't mind if it's bigger, but I want like really, really good battery life, and I want something simple with like, you know, no adjustments or settings, just something that just works really, really well.
So we have currently a very good device. It's called the 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀, and it's provided by INNOKIN. So it's a very good device. You have the right battery life. You have an easy use. We will see it later when I can present it. The change of the coils is very easy, and it's a very good product actually.
Okay, and the battery would last me all day on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that would be something I'd be interested in. So I would just pick a color now?
I was gonna ask, is there any color that you prefer?
I kind of like the fancy blue one right there.
There you go.
Okay. All right, I think that's the one.
Okay, let me get one for you and I will show how to use it.
Okay.
Awesome.
So basically what we just did was we walked through the entire process. So I was a fake customer coming in, and what we wanted to see was the entire process from start to finish. So it starts over there on that side of the shop with the data gathering. That's where you get information about my motivation level. You kind of dial into the nicotine strength that would be best for me. Right. Then we move over to the other station and we talk about cost savings, like what you can save becoming a vapor versus a smoker, right? Then we move over to the aromas and we get a sense of the aromas right from the bottle. It's almost like experiencing a perfume, which is like so cool, right? Because you take that part of the business very seriously, right? Then we move from there to the vaporization stations where you're getting more of a sense of the aroma, but also the flavor at that point, right? So you're kind of dialing into a flavor that the customer is most interested in, right? Then we come over here and we try the actual nicotines, and you get comfortable with the nicotine and you get comfortable with the sensation and knowing what to expect, right, from the product. Then we move into product selection and suggestion, kind of dial that in with the customer. And then once we select, we're not going to actually show this on camera because it's just going to take too long. But once we select the product, now you actually go back and you show the customer exactly how to work with the product, how to use the product, how to fill the product, how to prime a coil, all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Now we talked about like data gathering, how important it is for that, but you also hold the hand of the customer along the way, right? So this is not just a one-time interaction, right? The customer is coming back. Are you following up with the customer? How does that work?
Yeah, the link that we're creating when the customer is in the shop should remain after he's back home and even the following days and the following weeks. So to do that, we're using the booklet that we spoke earlier about, and we will register, the data that we collected that first day inside, and he will keep it. So he will bring it, and that first day we will already schedule another appointment and ask him to call us back if he's not able to come back physically after 2 to 3 days to share the experience. How did it work? Did he face any issues? Did he face any challenges? And so we can also have an open conversation about this. And then we will go through the measurement of the
CO2.
Exactly, again. And usually what happens, we first of all will see right away if he had smoked or not during those couple days. If yes, that's fine. And we can cover that topic with him and to say, okay, you had a little bit of a, how would I say, a little accident on the way.
Got a misstep. Sure, you cheated a little bit, right?
But that's fine. And but at least we know what he's facing. What is the real situation? Not saying, okay, I sold you the hardware, I sold you the liquid, now you do your own experience on your side.
Right.
That is extremely important.
And this is motivational, right? This is so motivational. This is going to keep people, and when they come in and they blow in the machine again and the numbers go down, they say, oh my God, things are working, things are getting better, right? They have the proof.
Exactly.
Right, and I believe that in this one somewhere, maybe it shows like, I know we had that from you where like the first 24 hours this happens. Okay, so
it's in this one actually.
Yeah, okay, and this is something that the customer takes with them as well, right?
Exactly, both. This one is basically the data collection of all the information that we gathered during the interviews. And this little booklet is more about the key facts and all the information that is covered during the interview, but usually you forget half of it once you're exit the store.
Right.
So that way he can, again, in a quiet place, go over all that information again.
Right. So again, this is something that we actually have in the Back to Basics seminar that we do, that you allowed us to use in our presentation.
Everyone should use it.
Right, and it's fantastic. So I mean, I'm not going to be able to just translate this into English right here, but like after 20 minutes, something happens, right? After 8 hours, something happens when you change or when you make the switch from smoking a traditional combustible tobacco cigarette to vaping. And when you see this, it's just more motivation. And when you're doing this, it's more motivation. And when you have a great shop like this and good people contacting you and following up on you and caring about you along the way, it's great motivation to keep you off of the cigarette, and it's motivation and an experience that you're not getting from other vape shops.
Yeah, what an experience, though. I mean, my hope from the people that are going to be watching this video, if you're a vape shop owner, is you might not be able to implement everything that you see here,
right?
But at least try to take 2 or 3 positive things and try them at your store.
Why
and
not?
See what the response is going to be.
Why not? This is a very different way of doing things. It's unlike anything that we've seen in the States. Not only in the States, to be fair, worldwide. I mean, this is a really, really unique way of doing this, and a way of converting smokers from smoking to vaping. I love the hands-on approach. I love the motivation all along the way. I love the different stations and the different experiences that the customers is having and going through. And what you said in the Facebook Live, I think, is so true. It legitimizes the industry. It legitimizes what we do, and it gives a sense of confidence to the customer that's walking in the store. When they see this, they're going to take it a lot more serious than just a vape shop where they walk in and there's just tons of gear everywhere and they have to figure out what it is that they want.
And here's an important fact. This is an adult facility. Even if you want to call it borderline medical type of approach, guess what? This has absolutely zero appeal to kids.
Yes.
Right? In an environment right now where we're getting slammed by government accusing us of selling products to kids, something like this is not appealing to kids. Something like this is appealing to adult smokers that want to go into professional, legitimate business in order for them to quit smoking.
Yeah, and we've seen the process here. We've seen at least 3 or 4 smokers come in. We saw just today. And again, this shop has 0 advertising, right? No promotions. This is all word of mouth. And somebody came in before who transitioned off of cigarettes to vaping, and they brought a friend. That's key. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like bringing your friend. If you come into this and you have this experience, right, and you know it's professional and it helped you, and you see the follow up and you see the care that's happening here, you are going to bring your friends. You're going to want your friends to experience the same thing. You're going to want your friends to have this level of help and expertise to help you get off of cigarettes.
Yep.
There it is right there.
Nouveau
Souffle, and I haven't seen the souffle.
New breeze. Bring a new breeze into your life.
Have you seen the souffle? We didn't get to eat. There's no souffle.
No, we had a creme brulee though.
We did have a creme brulee.
Doesn't they souffle that?
No, that's they just burned the sugar on it.
Isn't that souffle?
No, it's not a souffle. No. Souffles, they cook it and it kind of rises, and then you hit it with a spoon and it all kind of collapses. Right. So yeah, just an incredible experience here. We can't thank Alfaliquid and 𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏 enough for allowing us us to come here and film all of this and share it with all of you. We hope that you are as impressed as we have been with this experience. And again, we hope you use this and you utilize it, because that's what this is they're here for. I mean, that's what they created this for. They want people to see this, right, and copy this. They're not copywriting this. They're not there. They want to share this. They want people to use this as a model to help convert more smokers.
And keyword, converting smokers in a tight, regulated
That's words, by the way.
environment.
Converting smokers is words. It's
2 words.
Yeah.
In a tight, regulated environment currently, the only win that we can possibly have is to get more people off cigarettes and onto vaping. That increases our numbers, that puts more pressure on regulators to look at this product for what it is, and that's a life-saving invention, and it's not a product that came to replace cigarettes. It's a product that came to eliminate cigarettes.
absolutely. And I think if a regulator came in and they saw this and they saw the process and what the steps that happen here, I think they would, they too would be very, very impressed with what's going on here, right?
And you know, look, no high salt nicotine, no CBD. You do not need those products into your store. If you sell them, that's fine. That's your business decision. But there are tons, millions of smokers still out there that we haven't reached.
Yep.
And this is just another approach, just another way that possibly you might be able to reach some more of your customers.
A very, very different way of doing things, right? And one that we like.
Absolutely like.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't think Kathy wants to get in front of the camera ever again. I think she's
you
done.
really worked very hard today.
Well, you know, I wanted to make sure things were good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she got a little bit frustrated there with
You
you.
think
But
she
then
did?
again, a lot of women get frustrated with you, so it's not the first time for you.
Dimitri being Dimitri. can't get away from it. So
Thank you, guys.
that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. So fluffy. It's so fluffy. Okay.
We would look good on General Hospital. Yes, today on General Hospital. Herpes. Yeah.
Card's full.
The card is full. I will now change the card.
Is there anything that you can do with it to make him better looking? Can you do any market Photoshop? Maybe?
Oh, we can.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's it. Put that on. No, it's a lost cause.
Okay. Again with the glove.
Yeah, that's but I think that's important.
Yeah, I think this is the one.
Okay, perfect. Let me get you one for you.
Let's do that one more time.
You're such a slave driver.
Well, it was like, let me get one for you.
Alright, last one because they're waiting to go. They're waiting to get in there. Come on. Let's get it right.
One more time. Ready? Okay.
Just gotta get it close to my lapel here. Speak into
I got you. Don't worry.
Speak into there. Oh, we did that before.
Yeah,
we did that already. Yes, we did.
What would you tell the United States? What would you tell?
I love burgers. Yeah, he's never gonna finish.
No,
We
yeah.
should just
No,
get
it's
a...
okay. Let him go. It's okay.
Are you married, Alex?
That's what editing
I'm married.
is for.
Well, I'm living in marriage situations, let's say.
Oh,
like that.
okay. I just wanted to see if you had like a Tinder profile. It's probably going to be like that long.
Right? Does nicotine cause cancer?
Absolutely not. Nicotine is not at all. Shit.
No problem.